Okay, so it seems like we are talking about BunnyAyu again. Now, if you don't know, obviously we covered this VTuber essentially coming back after a lot of controversy and essentially starting up her VTuber persona because, again, she has been active before all of this kind of stuff has kicked off, but she's been doing more IRL content, doing like kind of that kind of content, if you get what I mean. And essentially, yeah, she's decided to, start up VTubing again ever since the drama, a little while ago. And if you guys want to see a full video on that, then definitely go check out Rima's video, which talks about it. But if you want a quick recap of this, I'll go through the list again. We went through it in the last couple of videos that we talked about, but this was the kind of stuff that people claimed and she was accused of, including stuff like toxic behavior and bullying, slandering other creators, manipulating friends and mutual connections, professional sabotage and financial harm to partners, gatekeeping within the cosplay community and VTuber communities, body shaming women in a private group chat, emotional abuse and gaslighting of partners and friends, spreading rumors to isolate individuals from the community, pursuing partners of mutual friends, inappropriate physical advances, and behavior towards other partners, grooming creators to compete with or replace others, stalking other creators online, filing false DMCA claims to silence accusers, using clout to exploit smaller creators. Whew. Yeah, so again, there is a real big list of stuff there, which obviously, yeah, was all claimed and is all in Rima's video that, she talks about. And I do think it is a very interesting one because a lot of people have been kind of drawing some comparisons to the Cinder situation, obviously, because, they are both creators. They kind of got pushed out of the community, or people, really disliked them after a lot of the stuff that had come out. And now they're obviously trying to, come back into the space. And it's more so, people either choosing to accept them or just choosing to ignore them, right? And I do think it is a very interesting conversation because a tweet has actually blown up recently with her debut. And that is why we're talking about her today, because obviously her debut has happened and a lot of people have been kind of questioning things because this was one of the big ones. People saying, chat regarding IRL body reveals or half-cam streams. How do fans feel about this? What is the feelings on this? And yeah, as you can see, she's got a VTuber on one side and then she's got her IRL self, in the background there, which many people have kind of been discussing because if you take a look at her actual stream charts and whatever, she's done 3 streams since the VTubing kind of debut, and it seems like in every single one of these streams, she always has an IRL kind of camera at least one point within the stream. Now, for the VTubing debut, if you just take a look at the VOD, you can see that most of it actually was with her VTuber in it. You can see along this entire timeline, mostly VTuber, and then near the end, she actually puts on the IRL camera for like the last, 20 minutes or so. So again, obviously, not a full kind of VTuber stream or whatever, which some people, I guess, were expecting. And then obviously, if we go to some of the future VODs as well, this one is all kind of camera, but with the VTuber in the corner there. And the same with this one too as well. She has her VTuber in the corner, but she is there IRL. So again, a lot of people have been questioning, is this really VTubing? Is this a VTuber debut if she is just still going to continue doing IRL content, but have a VTuber model in the corner? And I do think it is an interesting conversation because many people would say no, and some people, just don't really care or, think that, okay, yeah, fair enough, whatever. But again, I do think it's an interesting conversation, and there's been a lot of unfollows recently. I don't know if that is due to the fact of people kind of finding out, the past stuff that has gone on or whatever, and that they've started unfollowing. But again, we've known this before she even debuted on the 17th. So I don't know why it's all of a sudden now that she is starting to lose quite a lot of followers. Well, I say quite a lot, like 42 and 6. But again, that is counteracting, obviously, a lot of the followers that she's gained as well. -4, -2. So again, I do find that pretty interesting. Maybe it was some people that maybe followed on the day whenever, she went live to do her VTuber debut and realized that this wasn't going to be a full VTuber. That could be the case. I don't really know. But again, I've always asked the question, why even come back to VTubing? It's very obvious that she is very much hated there. People do not like her due to everything that's happened, especially with like Lena Lazar and people like that. And I think a lot of people were, wondering, why come back to a community where you are so hated when you have such a good kind of, record going on with, IRL content? She's pulling in 3,000 views pretty much, most days in terms of a lot of her content. So why switch to VTubing now? Because, you're very successful in the IRL space. And maybe it is just one of these creative things where, she just wants to be a VTuber again. And sometimes I get that, sometimes you just want to do it, right? And not because it will necessarily help out your career, but just because it's something fun or something that she hasn't been involved with in a while. But I do still find it a little bit odd, you know, I do find it a little bit weird how she would just go back, even though, you know, she knows the kind of reception that she would get. And obviously the reception hasn't been great either. But yeah, lots of people commenting on this post essentially saying, yeah, how do we feel about these half cam streams? People saying IRL bodies reveals are just online, yeah, doing side jobs. They aren't streamers or content creators. It always goes the same way. Also, apparently this person was known for harassing cosplayers or something. They said it works well, provided it doesn't distort your character's optics too much. In other words, if your viewers expect you to look a certain way based on your VTuber model, but see something completely different in real life, a significant difference in body type, the illusion can break and then they can lose interest, which I do think is kind of true, right? And obviously they say if your model closely aligns with your real self, showing your face or body can actually make the connection stronger, as seen with Bunny and Cinder. And yeah, obviously I do think of, you know, they do look pretty similar. You know, if you ask me, I think they do look pretty similar in terms of just body type and everything like that. So I don't think there's going to be an issue with that. But people were saying stuff like this, saying she isn't actually a VTuber, she's a prostitute, which yeah, I think it's crazy. Saying what's that at? They said it's BunnyAyu. They're not gonna lie, you're the first VTuber I've seen, besides some big names, to actually have roughly the same body type as the model. It said, no, this is not me, sorry, this is an example of a different VTuber, which yeah, obviously it is. Saying, I'm just here for the misunderstanding this image undoubtedly has caused, which yeah, obviously a lot of people are apparently asking if it's them, which is not the case. But yeah, many people have been kind of asking the question, and obviously she used to go by the name Bunny GIF, by the way. BunnyAyu is the new name that she used for her IRL content, and she's covered that into, or I say covered that, kind of put that into her stream name as well for her new VTuber model, instead of going by Bunny GIF, the old one, which she used to be, right? People said she's actually her, WTF, and that's one of the things that people have been kind of pointing out quite a bit, is the fact that they do actually look very, very similar, right? But yeah, people say, you know, all of this kind of stuff. Other people said, I love socializing myself to make profit off of old sweaty men. So yeah, obviously that's also saying, the only correct answer is it's up to the creator. Never let so-called fans dictate your content, even if some don't want to watch it. There are still many potential viewers out there. I personally even do occasional fan cams. Face cams, sorry, not fan cams. You may not consider me a true VTuber. People saying even Cinder does not do body cam despite doing full cosplay of a VTuber persona, and that is actually the most parasocial stuff to ever commit as a VTuber. Nothing good will ever happen from that. I'm not surprised she does it, considering the backstory I heard a thing or two. And obviously, yeah, people saying horror degeneration of what was once a cute anime girl models streaming. People saying tired of Western e-girls using live 2D as another Halloween costume in their closet. Completely defeats the entire purpose and done with zero effort. Stay in your lane. Being a VTuber is more than just wearing an L2D, which yeah, obviously I don't know if they know the past of them or whatever, if they know that she obviously used to be a VTuber and all of this kind of stuff. But yeah, obviously people having a pretty strong opinion about this. Obviously others saying, yeah, who would do such a thing, which I do think it is quite a common thing with some other VTubers as well. I just think that, you know, it depends how often it kind of happens, right? I think to me, it would count less as a VTuber if this was the stream every single stream. And as we've seen with all of these streams, it has been every single stream. I wouldn't really class them as a fully fledged VTuber if that was the case. I wouldn't, just because, you know, obviously if they are showing their face and their body and stuff on stream, you know, all the time, I think that, you know, it just doesn't really count, does it? Right. But I think that whenever it comes to, you know, one-off streams like this, if someone does this like one-off, right, or like every now and again you do like a card opening or even just anything you know, similar, which involves obviously like IRL kind of content, that's fine, right? I don't think there's any problem with that. I don't think there's a problem with VTubers showing themselves IRL either. Obviously it does happen quite a bit, as some people say, but again, I don't think that, you know, if you're streaming every single stream, you know, with a VTuber model just on the side with IRL, I just don't know if that really, you know, counts. But obviously everyone's content is different, and I don't think they really care about labels either. People saying IRL body reveals, she was streaming with facecam before, so yeah, obviously a lot of people saying I miss when VTubing was just VTubing, and now it's just horse with annoying fat mounds, which obviously, yeah, that's what they got to say about that one. Obviously, there's some people that have been enjoying it though. This person has been commenting quite a bit about BunnyAyu though, They're saying, gotta say, this is one of the most wholesome comebacks for BunnyAyu tonight. Absolutely love the models so much and beyond adorable person behind the model. And some people pointed out that's the exact opposite of wholesome, lol. Which, yeah, I do think it is kind of the exact opposite of wholesome. I don't think this is wholesome, but again, obviously that's their understanding of it. I can't really judge about that, right? And yeah, some people have also been talking about this over on the VTuber drama subreddit as well, saying Bunny GIF is back as a VTuber, saying I thought she'd be back for a while, but she just wanted to do IRL stuff. Nobody at Watch has anything to do with her, so she can go into the same box that I stuffed Cinder into. Said she's been she has been, but not at all as a VTuber as far as I know. She honestly a lot worse than Cinder from what I remember. Honestly, she makes Cinder look like an amateur mean girl. Cinder was selfish and paranoid, but she wasn't actively malicious like Bunny was. Bunny stalked and harassed her targets for years. Obviously, that's what they got to say about that. Said, it's been so long, I don't even remember what she did. Said, I think she bullied Lena pretty hard if I don't remember correctly. Said, that's understating it. She spent years stalking, sabotaging Lena and others, sliding into DMs of every new connection they tried to make, warning them to stay away. Should enlist other streamers in their communities to help do this. She also stole money and touched other people and their partners inappropriately. She was pretty bad. They said, oh lord, what is wrong with people? Which, yeah. As people saying briefly, for those curious, Bunny's a pathological liar who is known for constantly screwing people over, particularly cosplayers and Lena Lazar, and being an emotionally abusive partner to Susu. So they weren't even together. It was a fake relationship, what I remember. So yeah, she was just abusive, which again, yeah, that's crazy. So for those who have forgotten, Bunny basically screwed Lena Lazar over 20k plus and strung a ton of shitload of lies and abuse along the way. She commissioned Lena to make a figure for her after her then girlfriend Susu had one made by Lena, and then ghosted her whenever it was time to send it to production. Lena got left holding the bag and was on the hook for costs. She repeatedly cheated on Susu and her current head mod and boyfriend OG Texas, whom she also lied to her community about until Susu put her on blast in a Google Doc. She lied about hiding her accent and putting on the fakest country accent when she saw how popular other VTubers were getting after dropping their cutesy character voices for their real ones, and was basically just a nasty, backstabbing person to everyone in the VTubing community she was ever close with. People said, thank you. I actually wrote a whole paragraph myself but forgot to post it. People said, cool, now hope she's gone again. They didn't recognize the name, so I clicked it. So I clicked images and holy, which yeah, obviously that is one of the big things that is part of her brand, right? So yeah, that's one of the reasons she was able to come back with her IRL streams. And yeah, I think that obviously she does have a lot of viewers who, you know, obviously like her looks quite a bit. And that is, I would say, one of the big reasons as to why she has such a large audience right now, right? And, you know, it's fine. I don't think there's any problem with it. You know, everyone has their own audiences and whatever for whatever reason. But I do think she has had, you know, a easy time of getting back into the space due to this. And yeah, people are just more interested as well. So again, I do think this is a pretty interesting situation. Obviously, we talked about in the last video, you know, is it a Cinder thing where people can kind of accept her to come back? A lot of people are saying no. A lot of people, as they said, they're putting her into the same box as Cinder and just not really interacting with her content or whatever, because she doesn't really, you know, collaborate with anybody anyways, especially in the VTubing space. And I think it is one of those things where essentially, like me personally, although all of this stuff is horrible, at least from what I've heard, I'm just not going to watch her. I'm not going to watch her. But, you know, if she starts to kind of collaborate with other VTubers, big VTubers in the space, then maybe it could be a cause for concern because, again, a lot of people are kind of worried about that. But for now, it doesn't seem like that is the case, right? And I think that, you know, she's pretty 50-50 on the VTubing thing anyways. I don't think it is one of these things where she's going full VTuber trying to, like, you know, bring VTubing back or whatever onto her channel. It seems like she is still pretty torn between, you know, IRL content and also VTubing as well. And like, as you can see with the 50-50 kind of, you know, model and the IRL thing. So yeah, very, very interesting. But it seems like, yeah, she is back. She is using the VTuber model and has already caused a lot of conversation over on Twitter and places, which I just kind of wanted to cover. But yeah, that's essentially all I've got for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameStop, use my code Kaza, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all.